point, the Protoss players completely controlling the flow of the game.
Yeah, this is such a difficult spot for True, actually, having to defend in the main. That hatchery is actually going down. It does fall. At the same time, the Zealots in the main are well defended, but losing that base is already quite troublesome. He does have the Hive, he does have the Infestor, so if he can get a good fungal on those Stalkers and maybe kill a lot of them, but look at PartinG. He's just harassing with Zealots and pulling his main army back while he's stacking 2 already Colossus, +2 attack is on the way, charge loads are on the way, so he's transitioning really, really well into a game. And he killed quite a few drones, and if you look at the work account, it's actually 54 against 66. So this game is looking really, really awesome for PartinG. There's not too much that can go wrong from here, I think.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we have a 3 base economy for the Protoss play. He was doing a lot of work, and just that drop in the main base alone already just distracted True for long enough so that he could move back with the rest of his army, could safely like put them back to the 3rd base where he now has those Colossi coming in with the double Colossi production. PartinG still with that Warp Prism in a position where he can try and take a few units down in the main base. If he just creates a second front against his opponent, that is already going to distract True so much. A quick Zealot drop towards the 3rd base, the Warp Prism moving over towards the main. We have Vipers now in the game as well, now that True got into his additional tech, but he still doesn't really have that army to contest with us. Another base goes down here. PartinG just like taking all the opportunities that he gets, and True is in a really bad spot at this point.
Yeah, losing that hatchery is so bad. I think losing the 3rd base and the 4th base, I think the 3rd is up again, but man, PartinG just doing so much work with those Zealots. We did see there are Vipers on the field, so actually using Infestors with the Fungal and then using the Blinding Cloud on top of the Fungal is a really, really strong and potent unit composition. If he does get some lucky Fungals and Blinding Clouds off, he might be able to swing a battle in his favor, but it's going to be really, really tough. And PartinG is just getting ready for everything. He's getting Storm, he's getting his 4th, he's getting more cannons. He doesn't seem to be able to be caught off guard in any way whatsoever by True.
It just doesn't leave anything open. He gets the 4th in there. He even gets another base up to the top right, going for a bit of a ninja expand now as well. So he's just pulling all the tricks out right now, making sure that there is just no way that he's going to fall behind here, just trying to run with that advantage that he already has. And another issue is, of course, that at any given point in the game, he can start moving out. We're having him at 160 supply. He's going to go up to a lot more, and once he hits that 200, he will start moving in. We have Storm for him coming in, the +3 attack upgrade. And he can just also like play the long game here with those additional bases that he's building up. His economy is much better than what we see from True.
Yeah, I think once he gets to +3, he's going to have a really, really nice army composition, and it's going to be a perfect time for him to go. And that Warp Prism is still flying around a little bit, causing a little bit of trouble. But True, what are you really going to do with that many links? There are so many Colossus ready. Look at the big blob of blue just moving out on the map. PartinG has a massive army right now. His +3 is finished. There's Ultras on the way, but it's just 1, and it's just started. I don't think it's going to be enough. And once again, PartinG is just going to be able to take that really, really nice position below the 3rd base. And it's going to be so hard for True to come in there.
And even the Ultralists won't be able to do too much here, considering that they don't have the Cartoonist plating just yet. The +2 armor upgrade isn't done yet either. And with the +3 attack that we're seeing for PartinG, he has just so much power there in this army to take down single units. Up to the top right, that base is going to start mining very soon now as well. And there comes the fight, and immediately the Colossi doing a lot of work. We have those Blinding Clouds, not really there just yet, but a lot of fungus Blinding Clouds hitting. But they just don't do anything. There are way too many units for PartinG, and the supply drops down for True, down to 120 against 180, and PartinG is just moving his way up to the top to the next space. The Blinding Clouds not really slowing him down at all, and PartinG is just completely destroying True here.
Yeah, PartinG is absolutely smashing everything in his way. The Ultras are popping out, but GG, there it is. PartinG takes out True in game number 1 in an absolutely dominating fashion there.
Yeah, great game by him. I mean, just like exactly what he wanted to do. He didn't show any weakness here, and he just, yeah, True didn't stand a chance.
No, I think True, you know, when you play that wing and you're going on that map against Protoss, you're kind of aware that the Blink Stalkers on the low ground are really tough. So you need to try to get some creep there. You need to be ready for that. Maybe think about cutting that attack off before it even gets there. But True, it just seemed to kind of happen to him. Like, okay, PartinG is here now. What do? I send units on both sides and try to fight. But there were so many force fields in combination with the Mothership cores. PartinG was doing way too much damage. A hatchery falls, and then the 4th base fell, and from there it just became almost an impossible game for True. So, you know, maybe on other maps he can show a little bit more, because that was a pretty tough map for him. But I'm kind of disappointed that he didn't prepare better just for that blink attack.
Do you think he should maybe just try to apply some pressure to the early 3rd base of his opponent? Would that have maybe put him in a better spot there? When PartinG attacked, it just seemed like he had really no chance of doing anything. He had no defense at that position. PartinG used the force fields really well. There was no way for True to get close enough. Could he have done something before that?
I don't know, because also looking at PartinG's build, it pretty much had no holes whatsoever. He was ready for anything. He dropped that third base super quick. So if True would have already had like 20 lings, then it would have been good to stop it. But if you reactively make 2 lings, that would have just been a row of buildings, sentries, and the mothership core. So you wouldn't really be able to do anything there. So I think True would have just been better off playing a little bit more of a macro game, but also that game was just a nice showing of PartinG's strength in that matchup and showing that he did practice that much, and he is so ready to play the 8 Zergs that are at this tournament. So it's looking like a perfect tournament for him, actually.
Yeah, for him it's actually a really nice group. Not only that he came into the tournament with a lot of preparation against Zerg already, because he had to play live, but at the same time now being in a group where you have to face 3 Zergs, it must be the dream for him. On the other hand, what exactly do you think True could have done? What were his options here when you saw that coming?
I don't know. Like, what are you really going to do against PartinG? Like, I mean, you're playing PartinG, you know that everything has to go your way. I think his build was pretty nice. Like, if he gets up the Infestors, the Ultras, the 2/2 upgrades, with the Fungal and the Blinding Cloud, that was a nice idea. But I think his biggest mistake was no creep spread. Like, with more creep spread, he would have stood a better chance in that fight.
Well, he of course has to try and win another map, PartinG that is. If he clears that out with a 2-0, that would be great for him. The winner of the series is going up against Snoot in the next best of 3 of the group here. And of course for True at the same time, it could be one of those scenarios where he also says, all right, against PartinG, I don't really think I can do too much. I'm going to focus more on my Zerg versus Zerg, and then we're going to see how it goes from there. We have the map videos here, of course, as well. Deadwing already played, so the next 2 maps are going to be Catalina and Overgrowth. What do you think about the 2 maps? Does True maybe stand a better chance here?
Yeah, I think the hardest map was definitely the first one for him. So things are looking better with Overgrowth and Catalina. Overgrowth in this current patch for about 2 more weeks. The Swarm modes are still going to be the same, which historically True isn't really a guy that is known for his Swarm modes play. But I really think on Overgrowth is one of the best options. So maybe we can see a little bit of that out him. That might be really good against PartinG. And then Catalina is a pretty good map for a lot of things. Like, there's a wide open area between the second and the third base. So big mid-game timings with Roaches, Hydras, Lings can often do a lot if Protoss even messes up a little bit with the force fields. And also, Mutas are much better on Catalina than, for example, on Deadwing. So if he does stick to that Ling style with the Infestation Pit and the Spire and kind of switches things up, I think there might still be hope for him on those maps, because those are good for his style.
What do you think about the group now in general when we talk about the 3 Zerg players once again? Let's say PartinG looks like he's definitely going to be the favorite in the group. Do you think there's any Zerg player in there that can really threaten him?
Well, I'm super excited if we possibly see Snoot play against PartinG, just because Snoot is like so much of a Swarm host player, and PartinG probably doesn't play that much against that type of Swarm host play. And also, we have not really seen PartinG against Snoot ever play in a tournament. So I'm really excited for that one. Maybe Snoot can do something, but PartinG's still going to be the favorite, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, PartinG has to show, of course, now, first of all, that he can take the second map against his opponent right now. There we have both of them getting ready for our second map here. PartinG with a 1-0 lead in the series now, of course. Another map would bring him the 2-0 victory against the Zerg opponent. And a pretty good start into this group as well. He traveled for about 24 hours, actually. Apparently had a long layover in Dubai and was pretty tired yesterday, but had a good night's sleep. And he's looking pretty good here. Very solid.
Yeah, I've not seen him look better. He was really friendly this morning, was saying hello to everyone. So I think he's definitely feeling great. And he showed it in the first game, very much so. And I wonder what he's got planned, because he can do anything. We've seen PartinG do all the strategies in the GSL finals. Cannon rushes, Nexus first, gate first. He even tried some proxy gates, actually, against Life in the GSL finals. So that's one of the things that makes him so strong as a player. He's super hard to predict. And as True, you don't really know what to expect right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go into the second map in just a second. And, well, there it is, actually. Both of them are ready. Jumping into the second game, we have the 1-0 lead for PartinG, who starts to the top right here in blue, our Polish stream. Once again, just dropping out of the game here. So a big shout out to a million all the Polish fans on stream right now. The map is Overgrowth, and starting to the bottom left is PartinG's opponent. It is a True down 1 game in the best of 3 series. He has to win 2 in a row now if he wants to start with a victory into his group.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if PartinG once again is going to feel out his opponent a little bit with the chat, asking if it's going to be an 8 pool or a 9 pool or something like that. But looks like so far just that Overlord on the way for True and that Pylon on the way for PartinG. So nothing too out of the ordinary happening so far.
Well, right now to the bottom left, we're having already the cancel on the gas, so pretty much the style that we see from a lot of these players. Pretty much a matter of preference, what exactly you want to go for here. But that oversupply trick here, up to the top right, once again that early drone that starts to scout out what exactly PartinG is doing here. In the last game, he didn't try to block that natural expansion that PartinG was taking. Here we're having a start with a gateway now for PartinG instead, but he could still try to delay that for a bit.
And the scouting timing from PartinG after the gateway is actually really good. He's always going to see that drone. And I think if he didn't block the natural against Nexus first, he's probably not going to do it against Gateway first, because there's going to be a Zealot really, really quick. And I don't think it's that great of an opening against Gateway first, but this is still really nice to see. Like, seeing the gate with the scout, you can decide, okay, I'm just going to 3-hatch at my 3 expansions, take a really nice economic position early in the game. And I think True is probably pretty happy to see this. Looks like PartinG does send down 2 probes, so he wants to go for the 13 gate and then immediately Nexus opening, which is also quite economical still. It's not the most greedy you can be. It's safe and very greedy at the same time. So I like this opening from PartinG, actually.
Might even get a kill there. Just the last second extractor. Here comes the expansion. Has to cancel that and moves away. But this was really nice by PartinG. Sending out 2 probes immediately, not really bothering with that drone too much. Just saying like, all right, if you try to block that for too long, you're going to lose the drone. In this case, we just had True save it just barely. Third base for the Zerg player is now coming up. So with that, we're having another extractor steal in the main base, actually, where he's going once again to steal a bit of gas, or like trying to at least delay that for as long as he can, as he did in the last game.
Yeah, this is actually a minor annoyance for PartinG, especially because in this game his natural Nexus is up later. So he doesn't really have that option to take the double gas with 1 gas at the natural. And his Zealot was also quite late. So it's going to be quite a while until PartinG has 2 extractors up. And one of the things you could do as a Protoss against is you could be like, okay, I'm just going to go for a big gateway push, which PartinG is definitely capable of doing, but we'll have to see how he wants to respond. He's actually made a pylon at the 3rd base, and True is pulling so many workers, but there's no forge on the map, so this was oh, he did make a forge. That wasn't a cybernetics core. And actually, in that case, really smart that True pulled those drones, because that could have been a devastating cannon rush. And this is really nice for True. He's now got a nice position in this game. That forge doesn't really have a function, and the pylon, the cannons didn't get up. So True really happy with this.
And True also not only like sending a few of the drones over to take down the pylon, but also blocking the important spot on the other side of that small abyss that we see there, and making sure that the probe never could really get into a position to drop those cannons. So really well played by him, finding that out very early on. It's of course one of those positions on the map that you will have an eye on. And we're having the 3rd base now ready for the Zerg player. PartinG, on the other hand, is just now getting his cybernetics score off. Of course, with him dropping that pylon down there, getting that forge, he was delaying his tech by a lot. His warp gate research is going to be so late, and that gives True a lot of safety right now. He knows that he can do whatever he wants for the next couple of minutes, and that there is no chance that PartinG can actually hit him with anything.
Yeah, and that was actually PartinG's response to the gas steal. So that worked out really well for True. He stopped everything PartinG was doing, and now PartinG is kind of playing catch up. He doesn't really have a standard really strong response to that gas steal, and True is just totally free to make drones. The warp gate's going to be later. PartinG probably has to play a defensive game and go into a 3rd base from here. True probably knows that. So from here, True has got quite a bit of freedom. Yeah,
no, on our Challenger stage stream, as you can see, Rain and Fantasy are currently tied, so apparently very fast games between the 2 of them, going into a 3rd map now to find out who's going to take it here. At this point, we still have Zergnis actually getting into the main base and trying to find out what's happening in the main of PartinG, trying to find out how far the tech has gone so far. And they also had already a look at the Twilight Council here. So True in this game, a much better position than he had in the last one. He knows what's going on. He has a slight lead. Takes down one of the probes as well. Great start for him here.
Really nice getting that probe. Also, that really quick Twilight Council probably meant that PartinG wanted to do something like maybe DTs or Blink. But now that it's scouted, I think he has to once again readjust and probably just go for a 3rd base. He is getting that +1. He did have that probe on the right side of the map, but he now decides to pull it back. So it looks like all of PartinG's very aggressive attentions are probably not there anymore. And this will probably transition into the mid game at least.
Yeah, Mothership Core is now starting to move out on the map. We have still Overlords, by the way, in the vicinity of the main base who can go for another scout later on, especially, of course, once that lair tech that True just started is done. Then he can go for an Overseer and see what exactly PartinG is doing there. We're having also, just as a precaution, 2 Spore Crawlers already being built. So even if PartinG would go for something like DTs right now, somewhere hidden on the map, True would be ready for it. So I really like the way that he plays the game now compared to what we saw in game number 1. This is more of like a macro laid-back style for him. He knows that he has a good position in the game, and he's not rushing anything. He's just like saying, all right, I have a great position here. I'm going to play with that, and I'm going to try and make sure that I know whatever is coming, that I'm going to be ready for anything that you can throw at me.
Yeah, the only thing that he doesn't really have, that we also saw in the last game, he's not really spreading too much creep, but everything else is looking really, really good for him. And we did see PartinG drop that still relatively fast turn Nexus, although it probably is a good minute later than it would be if he would have gone for a dedicated, I'm going to go 3 base from the beginning kind of build. But he does have a nice sentry count. He has his Mothership Core. He's clearing his Overlord. He's going to be able to scout with the Hallucinated Phoenix, see what's going on. His +2 is really, really quick because of that early Forge. So I think PartinG is still in a pretty good position. And pretty soon here, I think he's going to look to push out with all the sentries he has, with the Mothership Core, and just try to get any kind of damage he can into True. And True actually made 1 billion Zerglings. There are so many of them walking across the map now. 50 of them are out. And is PartinG going to be able to hold this 3rd base, you think?
Well, we're having Roaches and also Hydras being built already, so he has both of those techs thrown down, and so far what we don't see is an infestation bit for potential Swarmhost that we've been talking about earlier. With speed now being completed, there's definitely a huge potential of True just like trying to take down at least that 3rd base, and he's already splitting his army. But all the units are down here at the bottom. There's a cannon though, and a really good spot at the 3rd to protect that. And I think the Zerglings alone are just not going to cut it here. If he really wants to go for that attack, he needs a bit more than that. He's building more Overlords as we speak right now, and that puts him in a position where he can suddenly get those Roaches and Hydras out. He even has a 4th base at the gold now.
Yeah, he does, but that was kind of a crazy decision to make this many Zerglings this early in the game. And he will go for a little bit of a probe raid, which is nice. He gets 1, 2 probes, 3 probes, but he's losing a lot of Zerglings to the Cannons and the Zealots. And overall, with these Zerglings, what has he really achieved?
I guess he put some pressure on PartinG, and PartinG has to play a bit more defensive than he might have wanted to, but the Zerglings are, of course, a huge commitment here, not only because of the money that you spend, but also because of the larva that you use for them.
Yeah, the larva, and the one thing he can do right now is keep them alive until he has those Roaches and those Hydras up on the map. He is making a lot of units right now. He's staying low on drones. He sent a lot of drones to the gold base, but PartinG already on the way to the gold base, and the Zerglings are at the 3rd base, so there are no units for True on the other side of the map. At the same time, he's trying to kill probes, but he has to pull back. And PartinG might just be able to cancel this base out.
And PartinG already built a couple of cannons up to the top left, not only the one that he had earlier, so he anticipated that attack already, and he's in a great spot right now. There's no chance for you to take down the 3rd up at the top left. He retreats with all the Zerglings and tries to defend here at his own gold base, and so far he's been able to hold it. The Hydralisks are coming in now as well, trying to take down everything that PartinG has here. PartinG still with the force field, shielding all of his sentries. The Mothership Core still in a position and is going for a recall, but not all of the units recall back with him, and he's taking down the probe as well as the pylons. The Hydralisks alone already annihilating all of the Zealots. He can't really catch up with the units that were moving back now, but still a huge win here for True. He's now at 130 supply, has the supply lead overall. He has 4 base against 3. He controls that gold base as well, is going into his upgrades. Great position for him to be in the game right now, even though those links that he built at the early mid game maybe didn't work out the way that he wanted to. Yeah. He still got some use out of them.
Yeah, we just saw the mobility of the Zerg, how fast the Zerglings were able to be at PartinG's 3rd base and then just turn around, go back to the gold. PartinG had to warp in units defensively, and he wasn't in the best position with his sentries. Like, True got a full surround from both sides and just kind of forced PartinG to get out of there. But still, PartinG does have a nice economy. He's got +2. He's got a big army, and he's looking to do damage once again.
And he's moving in already, trying to use that low ground, high ground situation here. Roaches and Hydras moving up to the top, force fields being used. And so far, we still don't see any attempts by True to go into Swarmhost. He's sticking it out with Roaches and Hydras for now, but that of course puts him in a very awkward spot here at this gold base, where PartinG is using the low ground position to take down as many drones as he can and deny mining at the gold.
Yeah, this is a tricky position. True does have a massive army, but so does PartinG. They're both just kind of deciding, like, we're going to just go all out right now with just Stalkers, Roaches, and Hydras. And PartinG going up the ramp. The force fields are great, actually. Sections off like 10 Roaches right away. We'll get them relatively cheap, and True is kind of stuck. And this so far is a good fight for PartinG, but there's just so many Hydras in the back.
He needs a lot of force fields to really just zone out True here, but he has the sentry count to pull that off, and they are a lot of energy. Now jumping in once again, and it's jumping onto the high ground, blinking up here. The force fields are in position once again. The Spinecore is trying to help out with the defense as the Roaches and the Hydras are closing the distance against the Stalkers, moving in straight away, taking down half of the army that PartinG has here, but True is losing a lot as well. His reinforcements are on the way though, and he's just sending wave after wave against the Protoss. player here.
Yeah.
PartinG trying to warp in, but he's losing all those sentries, and they're so important.
The sentries are falling, and True looks like is up 60 supply right now, and I don't think that was a good decision from PartinG to just go head first into that massive concave against a guy who's only on 60 workers. And like True was kind of trying to all-in PartinG with Roach Hydras, and it would have been much better for PartinG. But look, he's actually going to snipe the natural. This is a crazy move, and this is a move that could actually put PartinG back into the game if he can recall. He needs to not lose. He can't lose these Stalkers. Looks like True will actually preemptively already move to the bottom and might be able to catch a couple of these Stalkers, but no, they're just too fast, and PartinG gets out with relatively most of them.
Yeah, really well done by him. He gets the best out of a bad situation. He moves into the natural, he snipes the hatch, and then he moves up the ramp, controls that for a second, takes a few units down. He has also the gold base very, very low. If he's able to send a few units over there, he might be able to annihilate that as well. The one thing that I still find a bit weird that during all this time, even with 4 bases, we never saw True going for a second evolution chamber to go for double upgrades or anything like that. So he's still sticking it out with 1 evolution chamber and the upgrades. We're having him, of course, now trying to rebuild that natural that he has there. And we don't see higher tech for any of these players. There's only Roaches, Hydras going up against Zealots and Stalkers.
Yeah, this is a really low-tech game, and if PartinG realizes this, he might just... If he just stops attacking and adds something like Colossus or Immortals to his army, he's going to fare pretty well against this low-tech Zerg army, but he can't be caught out like this. There's units coming from every angle. Once again, so many force fields are having to be spent, which just makes PartinG's defense that much more difficult a little bit later on.
It's just more of a numbers game at this point, and the numbers definitely in favor of True, the Zerg player in this game, just having a much better showing than he did in game number 1. Once more, those Stalkers moving in, trying to put pressure onto that gold base, and they're doing a lot of damage. Nice micro here by PartinG. He might... I don't think he's going to be able to get it, but the hatch is extremely low. He needs a few injects there if he really wants to keep that alive. Another warp in and this base is gone.
Yeah, there are units everywhere right now, attacking the third base from the top. I don't think there's a Mothership Core on the map anymore, so there's no Photon overcharge, which is actually huge. And by attacking this force, True actually gets a really nice position in the middle as well, between the bases, and True absolutely abusing the layout of Overgrowth. And now PartinG kind of stuck at his third base. His natural's taking massive damage. He is maybe able to win this fight, but look how many probes he's losing.
Yeah, and already PartinG warping in more units than the natural, trying to defend it. For now, we have at the same time the third base still under assault, and there goes True again with this entire army moving in. He's still losing quite a lot here. PartinG jumps in with the Stalkers, doing a lot of damage, and now suddenly we have the Zerg player on retreat, and PartinG could decide to just jump in and take a few minutes, but the reinforcements of the Zerg player are, of course, arriving up to the top here. He's still on 4 bases. He has the economy to pull this off, and in terms of workers alone, we're having PartinG now currently at 44 workers. He lost quite a few of probes in the last few fights.
Yeah, his economy took a massive beating, and that's really, really bad news when you're having one of these kind of games
he
where...
lost 21 probes.
Yeah, where you're both kind of stuck making the same units. As soon as one of you loses economy, you can't make the same units anymore as much as the other guy. And I feel like the next attack that True is going to do is just going to kill PartinG most likely. But he does still have a lot of Stalker percentage. He will finally... yes, he does get the gold, which is nice. He loses 1 Stalker for it, probably 2, 3...
Yeah, but
3 Stalkers.
True is at 200 supply now. He has 1,400 minerals, a really nice bank for him. He's already building another base up to the bottom right of the map, and he will rebuild that gold base too. Once again, PartinG in the middle of the map. He doesn't have a Mothership Core to go for the recall. Needs to be careful here. The force field so far pretty good, but those sentries are going to run out of energy eventually, and the Roaches is just trying to get close to this army to take it down. Doesn't have another force to come in maybe from behind, but he's just rebuilding everything that he has. Gets the +1 armor upgrade now. Also burrow and burrow movement. And PartinG is just like trying desperately to take a few of these units out, but there's just so much Zerg and only so little Brodos.
But look how many sentries there actually are. It's actually crazy. There's so many of them. There's going to be force fields for days. So
well,
if PartinG can somehow keep getting these fights where he cuts off half of the Zerg army, eventually, if he retains his Stalkers, doesn't lose too many, he might be able to do it. But once again, True coming in from both sides, so many force fields are being used, and for now, this fight is going okay for PartinG, but eventually, True will be able to get in, and
Actually, like, he loses a lot here. The Zerg player loses a lot of units. He has still that position. Now that the force fields are running out, that the sentries don't have the energy, I guess that the Protoss player is in a lot of trouble. But this is not a very cost-efficient style that True is playing there. He's really just throwing the numbers at his opponent. And PartinG is still holding. PartinG actually starting to turn that fight around again. Blinks after the retreating Zerg units and takes down Roaches and Hydras alike.
I can't believe it. True lost so much in that fight. He had units on every side, and his army was so much bigger, but just the amount of force fields, the blink micro, which was perfect. And now True is down at 100 supply. He lost his gold, and PartinG still has a massive bulk of Stalkers in his army, which are just going to regen the shields, and he's going to be able to blink all over again, all over True.
The upgrades, I think we have by now the +1 armor upgrade for the Zerg player at least. For PartinG, on the other hand, he should have an upgrade lead by now, and he just did way better with that. Yeah, no, we have actually only +2 attack for PartinG, so he didn't go for armor upgrades yet. But this is one of the things that True could have done just so much earlier. Getting a second evolution chamber and going for the double upgrades. He had the economy to do that, never really did. Could have even transitioned out of it, but he wanted to finish the game right now. And he couldn't really pull it off with all those sentries there. PartinG just had great micro in those fights, and now suddenly it's him taking the initiative here on the map, taking down another base of his opponent, taking down the third base, and True is just looking at the map and thinking, what the hell is going on here? Moves to the top left, trying to cut off PartinG from his income, but with that huge Stalker army straight at the natural, I don't think that True will be able to hold any of his bases.
Yeah, looks like PartinG is just going to lose his third base, but at the same time, True lost his third. He's going to lose his natural, he's going to lose his main. This is kind of a weird base trade situation, because normally there's a Mothership Core with the Protoss army, so it's really easy to make that recall. But in this case, he won't be able to. But will it really matter? I don't think True has a big enough army to take on that Stalker Sentry Ball head on. So in the end, I think PartinG's just going to be able to make Immortals from his natural, make more Stalkers, and this is looking great for PartinG, I think.
I actually don't think that PartinG knows about the base at the bottom right. He doesn't know, I feel, that there is an expansion. Yes, he does not, of his opponent. So that's one of the things where he would have probably sent a few Zealots over there, at least to take down the drones. He didn't get the chance yet, but with him taking down all of the tech structures in the main base, there's very little that True can do when it comes to rebuilding units. He's trying to go for a roach run right now to at least have the option to get more roaches in. But keep in mind that he has actually Burrow now, together with his roaches. I'm not sure if there is any detection on the map.
No, I don't. There's definitely no detection with this army.
Yeah.
True is trying to make a stand against the Stalkers, but PartinG is just too good with the blink micro, and there's not enough roaches here. There's still sentries for the force fields, and if True can't defeat this army, there's no hope for him. He is now doing a good job. He's actually going to kill quite a few Stalkers.
And the sentries.
And the sentries. And PartinG is trying to get away with the rest of his Stalkers, and is already sending down the rest of his army from the natural. What a crazy game.
We don't have any mining for PartinG. Well, we have a bit at the natural, but it's not a whole lot. He's going to run out of resources very, very soon. That Stalker count is, of course, scary, especially with the Observer now finally being with the army, so that Burrow is not going to be the biggest issue anymore. But in terms of army supply, they are still matched here, and we have a lot of roaches being built, and still that mining at the bottom right. The problem for True is he's even supply blocked right now. He needs more overlords before he can continue building units.
Yeah, but this was a bit of a crazy blink forward, and True, looking at these armies, but the Stalkers are kind of hurt. If PartinG makes a few mistakes with the micro, this could still go really, really wrong for him. This is still kind of a close game, but there is so many blink Stalkers that with the blink micro that he's already shown that he has in this game, he should be able to take this. I think I would really like it if he went from the right side, because then he could spend the force field better. This is an open area. This is kind of dangerous.
One of the big problems that PartinG has right now is that if he waits too long, we're going to see a massive army for True, thanks to that additional income that he has at the bottom right. Sentries are moving in once again for our Protoss player, and that is going to help a lot with the force fields. Drones even in the army now. Once again, the force fields cutting half of the roaches off here. He's trying to utilize the Burrow movement as best as he can, but the blink micro of PartinG is just too good. Once again, he's starting to jump in. He takes the lead in army supply, 65 against 44. PartinG is on the move right now, trying to finish this game. The force fields cutting the roaches off once again, and the Stalkers just doing their thing. We don't have a spawning pool yet. He's still building it. He just doesn't have the Zerglings to run past those force fields or come in from a different angle and cut the Protoss player off. And PartinG is just on his way to victory here.
Yeah, and those extra sentries really turned the tide of that battle. The Burrow movement roaches are just not fast enough off creep to get under those force fields, and there's too much free damage on the roaches. And True looks like he wants to make a final stand with his roaches, but once again, the force fields are there. The Stalkers are just getting free shots on those roaches. He does now unburrow right on top of PartinG's army, but there's so many Stalkers, and PartinG is blinking them back one by one. He's not really losing anything here, and it looks like True is slowly losing all he's got left, and this might be the win for PartinG, taking it 2-0 against True in the series and ready to face off against Snoot after this.
PartinG taking that army apart, killing the base at the bottom right, and the final source of income for his opponent, and takes it with a 2-0 in a crazy game here. Really well played by PartinG. It looked like he was down on the ropes there, just no chance of coming back into it, and then True trying to hammer him into the ground instead of trying to transition and maybe secure himself that fourth base properly. And suddenly PartinG with his micro, with the force fields, the blink that he had, they're able to tank down the army of True and starting a comeback.
Yeah, hammering is a good way to describe the way both players were doing it that game. None of them had any intention of going past the Blink Stalker or True going past the Roach Hydra. And I think that game showcased just how strong Blink Stalkers is. Blink might be able to explain just how good they are, as we could see in that game. But yeah, PartinG showed great control, great Blink micro, great force fields. I think he was a little bit careless at the beginning with some of the things he did, and True did have a really nice army, but then he just did everything flawlessly from there.
It was definitely a very interesting series here. True, unfortunately, not able to win a map, but especially that second game, of course, super exciting, and I can't wait to hear what the analysts have to say about that, especially, of course, our Protoss player, Blink, but also Betrayers. Let's just throw it over to Banks and the boys.
Thank you, Caldor and Rhett. Well, what a fantastic set of games. How on earth did True manage to lose that? We should have gone to a third game, but that says it all, Blink, really. We'll start with you, and we'll continue on and see what Betrayers thought of that.
What happened?
Force fields, man. Force fields.
Yeah, force fields, I guess. It was looking very good for True. Let's talk about game 2, obviously, and then we'll go into game 1, but because obviously it just happened. But yeah, game 2, it started off so good for True. Like the Forge did absolutely nothing. Then the Twilight Cancer got scouted. He had to change his tech. He changed what he was doing like 3 different times. He was so far ahead. Then the initial move out that the Protoss usually does with the Sentries and the Stalkers, which obviously we saw in game 1 do quite a lot of damage. Yeah. The Zerglings, yeah, they could have been a bit too much, maybe a bit overproduced, but it did stop that attack, so it wasn't actually completely nullified. But yeah, it did stop that attack, so he didn't take any damage. He managed to secure his 4th base, which was really good. He's in a really, really good position, and yeah, force fields.
Mass sentries, claim the victory.
He made a lot of sentries.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was crazy. Like, I just want to talk about game 1 for a bit, because they both were very similar in that they were both blink timings by PartinG. First game was a much more macro-oriented kind of build, which does fit into the map, Deadwing. So he just kind of went for a pressure poke with a few sentries, blink stalkers, and that went great because True was playing quite greedy, I think. But the second game, it was actually a very all-in push that we saw coming out from PartinG. There weren't many probes. He didn't take the gases on his third, I think. And yeah, he was just going full-on aggro. And True opened perfectly this time with a lot of lanes to get the map control, and then just Roach Hydra, which against an all-in kind of blink build, it should be the perfect response. But I don't know, I think he took his lead for granted, because there certainly was a lead, but then he was just like PartinG's reaction to being
Blink still can't believe it.
He was like, well, let's warp in 12 sentries and see what happens there. And, well, something did happen. Like, the Roaches just were kind of chilling on the outside of the force fields. And True, I don't know, he just didn't control.
Well, we know PartinG's good, but like, True kind of just left.
You know
that
what it
and
is
lost
as well? You know, at the start of game 1, right? You know, when PartinG was talking a little bit, True wasn't happy with that. Be quiet. Yeah, so obviously, I feel like PartinG might have been in his head a little bit. Game 1, it's kind of standard for Protoss to do that push on that map. It's kind of force field the third, and it's just pretty standard. It didn't seem like True really prepared for that properly, or as well as he should have done. Obviously, he took a lot more damage than what he really should. But also, like, he wasn't really reacting to what happened also, like in that game, and in game 2 he wasn't really reacting as well as he should have. But in game 1 he took all that damage, but it didn't stop him from doing what he wanted to do, which was kind of the downfall. Like, even though he was in a really bad position and he probably would have lost the game anyway, I feel like he should have reacted a little bit better. He should have, instead of going for the double upgrades, instead of getting all these different upgrades, instead of taking to Hive, instead and getting Ultralist, getting the Great Aspire as well. Like, instead of doing all these different things, I feel like he just throughout the series he wasn't really taking everything in. He was kind of a bit on a bit of autopilot, I guess, which sucks to say because I don't feel like top level players like that really do that too often. But it definitely seemed like that from what I saw, which is a bit of a shame because I was expecting True to actually, even though I haven't heard too much of him in foreign tournaments and stuff. I've always kind of saw him as a very, very good Zerg player, and I was expecting him to make a big splash. But kind of seeing that throwing game too, I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you really. I was thinking True's got a good chance here. It's a nice event for him potentially. But looking at that, it was like...
I mean, Partin is Partin. There's no denying that. But, you know, True's good as well. And I was expecting more.
Well, any final words from you, Petrus, before we head on to a break before we go into the next game?
I mean, we've heard lots about that series. But, yeah, I hope True prepared better for that. Better for his ZVZ than he did for that. Because, yeah, he's got a tough road ahead of him, for sure.
Yeah, massively so. Well, we're going to head to a break, but once we're back, we're going to see Snoot take on PartinG, which is a game that we're all excited to see, and I'm sure is going to give an interesting result.
It's all I wanna do. It's all I wanna do. Believe. It's all I wanna do. Believe. It's all I wanna do. Believe. It's all I wanna do. Dreams, they can come true. Will you accept the apology that is long overdue? Well, I question what forever is, and I know you do too. When the answer's right in front of me, believe it's all I wanna do. Trust you not to break. I'll students to I know you not. Trust you not to break. I'll students to I wanna know you not. Trust you not to break. I'll students to It's all I wanna do.
I'm standing on the edge and I'm looking to the ground. I see the grey skies are coming all around. See, I start to lose my vision, but I'm holding on to sound. No fear, I'm still hearing. Raw skin, but I'm healing. No fear, I'm still hearing. Raw skin, but I'm healing. constantly changing. I'm always rearranging. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. We are who we are. That is constantly changing. I'm always rearranging. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. That is constantly changing. I'm always rearranging. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. That is constantly changing. I'm always rearranging. Always rearranging. Constantly changing. I'm always rearranging. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. That is constantly changing. I'm always rearranging. Always rearranging. Always rearranging.